Welcome to Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition, where we dive deep into the untapped potential of nonprofits and their remarkable ability to create a lasting impact. I'm your host, Sara Mayer. Let's dive in. Hi there. Welcome back to Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition, the podcast where we dig deep into what drives real, sustainable, and meaningful change in the nonprofit world. I'm your host, Sara Mayer, and today we're exploring one of the most powerful stories a nonprofit can tell. What makes you different? This is from the book, The 10 Stories Great Leaders Tell by Paul Smith. This isn't just a branding exercise. It's about clarity. It's about standing out in a world where a donor could support anyone, but chooses to support you. It's about knowing your lane and owning it with confidence. So let's be honest, there are hundreds and thousands of nonprofits, and maybe even hundreds in your niche. And from the outside, it may look like everyone's doing the same thing: feeding the hungry, mentoring the youth, providing shelter, promoting the arts. But here's the honest truth. Donors, partners, and community members need to understand what makes you the right choice. Not just because you care, everyone cares. Not just because you're local, there's probably others that are local. Because you do something differently and better in your own unique way. So let me share a story real quick. A client of mine, let's call them the Bright Futures Foundation. That's not their real name. But they work in youth development, and now they weren't the only ones in town doing this. In fact, the area was saturated with after-school programs. But when they came to my team, they were a little frustrated. They had the passion, they had the people, they had the results, but they felt invisible in the crowd. So we really dug in, and we discovered while most organizations were focused on homework, help, and recreation, Bright Futures was focused on building youth leadership and economic mobility. They weren't just keeping the kids off the street. They were teaching them how to lead a community meeting, open a bank account, and apply for funds. And their secret sauce? A trauma-informed, youth-led model with built-in family engagement. That was the story they weren't telling. And once they led with that difference, they attracted new founders. They partnered with schools, and they became the go-to for youth voice and empowerment, not just after-school care. So let me ask you, what's your edge? Is it a unique approach, a hard-to-reach population you serve, a methodology backed by results? Maybe you're the only organization in your community doing culturally specific mental health work, or maybe you combine art and advocacy like no one else does, or maybe you employ the people that you serve, creating impact on both sides of the equation. Whatever the difference is, don't bury it. Lead with it. And that's how you stand out. That's how you get funded. And most importantly, that's how you amplify your impact. So here's your challenge this week. I want you to write the how you're different story, not just a bulleted list, an actual story. If you don't have the book, I'm going to read it to you. I want you to write it. So ask yourself the following questions. You might need to get input from sales, marketing, or just people that have really supported you in the past. I want you to think about a time that you or someone else maybe used one of your competitors' products or services and had a bad experience. What was that experience like, and how does it differ from the experience you provide? I want you to think about your most positive customer stories or nonprofit stories. And then I want you to talk to some of the people you serve to ask them how you are different. And then use these experiences to craft your story. Think of one client, one project, and one moment that shows your unique edge in action. And then share it with your board, on your website, in your donor meeting. Because when you own your difference, you don't have to beg for attention. You earn it. That's it for today's episode of Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition. If this episode helped you see your uniqueness in a new light, Share it with someone in your nonprofit circle. And remember, your mission may be shared, but your approach is one of a kind. Tell that story and let the rest do the marketing for you. Until next time, keep making bold moves and unleashing impact in your unique way. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition. I'm so excited you were here on this journey. If you haven't signed up for our newsletters and wonderful resources, please visit nonprofitimpactunleashed.co. Again, that's nonprofitimpactunleashed.co. I look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Impact Unleashed.